Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Marketing Monday on November 30th, 2022. The major two pieces of business information that have been dominating everything are number one, Sam Bankman-Fried and the FTX fraud, and number two, Elon Musk's insane Three Stooges-esque hijinks over at Twitter. We're going to talk about all of that more in today's wins and fails. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start off with the wins and fails, starting with the win, and that is all the $42 billion purchase, all of the mass firings, all of the blue check, all of that has been building towards Elon Musk's secret plan of going on a date with Apple CEO Tim Cook. He did it. He's on a little fun garden date. The Riz is insane, dude. It's cute. Yes, of course, he did tweet earlier. Apple has mostly stopped advertising on Twitter. Do they hate free speech in America? What's going on here at Tim Cook? He deleted this, by the way. He started talking about the 30% cut that Apple takes on all transactions and said, rather than pay 30%, I'm going to war. He went on one little date with Tim Cook and he deleted the tweet. So instead of his big plan to take down the Apple monopoly, it kind of seems like he just wanted Apple to spend more money on Twitter, which I don't even think they agreed to do, but they have agreed to not delist Twitter from the App Store. So I guess he got that. But I don't know that he necessarily won this war. That being said, the problems are a little broader than that. You see, Twitter has lost 50 of its top 100 advertisers since Elon Musk took over. That is a pretty big revenue impact for a company that was already losing money and makes 98% of its revenue through advertisers. I'm gonna say something right now that it's gonna make some people mad. I agree with many of the decisions that Elon Musk has made. Oh, I think that Twitter needed layoffs. Holy moly. I think that Twitter trying to go to a more subscription-based system instead of an advertising-based one is a good idea. What I disagree with is the way it was executed in all of these situations. I cannot think of a more classless way to fire all of your workforce than the way that he did. Well, he overfired, then he had to randomly hire some back, then he offered some of them, then the ones that remained, he put out an ultimatum. Yeah, he basically put out an ultimatum saying everyone to sign up for long hours at high intensity. They needed to like verbally sign an agreement that they would be super hardcore. More importantly is that the people that chose to stay, he then, on Thanksgiving, he tweeted out a photo of his bedside table, this is late at night, with an Overwatch gun, a replica of George Washington's flintlock pistol, 4 diet sugar-free Cokes, and then about 6 hours after this tweet, fired people. Like at 4 a.m., fired hundreds more people. So he went around and said, basically, if you don't take my ultimatum to be super fucking hardcore and commit to this company, I'll give you 3 months severance and you can just leave. Okay, fine. I mean, you're the CEO. You can demand that. The people that agreed, they said, fine, yes, Daddy Elon, we will do the hardcore work, were then fired on this day, weeks later, and given 2 weeks severance. That's an actual finesse, dude. And the reason is, largely, the people that agreed to his insane demands are people that are on what's called H-1B visas. And they are foreign workers who are working in America who are required to have a job in order to keep their status in the country. They'll be kicked out, basically, if they don't. And that if they lose their job at Twitter, or they leave or are fired, they only have 60 days to find a new qualifying H-1B job, or they're deported. So many of them are being forced into these conditions because they just simply have to. They simply have nowhere else to go. And if he does fire them, he can offer them terrible demands. They don't really have a lot of legal recourse. So that's sort of what is going on. So I feel like the way he's handled layoffs has been pretty classless and pretty cut too deep, you know? Obviously, Twitter had bloat. I've been saying this for the longest time because I visited Twitter when I worked in NVIDIA and we were doing there for marketing. We went and visited all the social media companies. One thing I noticed about Twitter was they have insane numbers of floors of people and they don't seem to do anything. That being said, there's a very clear chance that he has overfired. But when the vast majority of the money of the company is coming from advertising, firing basically all of the sales team and all of the people that handled talking to brands is pretty bad. Now, all of the advertisers who don't even care about the Elon political stuff, they're just literally getting worse service. They can't get data. I mean, Twitter already had pretty shit targeting pretty shit data. As much as you may hate Mark Zuckerberg and think he's a weird robotic piece of shit, if you use Facebook/Instagram for marketing, you get really detailed data, really good targeting. But if you do it on Twitter, you get like a thumbs up. You get nothing, dude. So people are just quitting because they don't know what the hell's going on. And again, if we were to draw this is profitability. So let's say this is negative. This is Twitter the year before Elon Musk picked them up. This is when they had all of their advertisers and they just spent a ton on employees and salary and staff and expansion, all right? So he cut that cost by what is estimated to be something like $300 million a year. So that's about what they were losing. If everything else had stayed the same and he cut all the employees to the bone, he would have gotten it to even. This is where Twitter would be right now, even profitability, basically zero. But the problem is they lost all the advertisers. They lost half of the top 100 and they've added another $1 billion a year interest expense on the debt he took to buy the company. No matter what he does, Twitter is an insane hole. I don't see a path forward. And then the plan that he had, with the blue check $8 plan, at launch was a disastrous failure. Not only did it lead to a ton of impersonation and parody accounts and, fraud and all that, but more importantly, it just didn't sell that many. It's not looking like this is gonna be the big end-all be-all savior of the company. And so I'm not sure what their plan is going forward. Now, because he's cut costs so much, and because Twitter had like $5 to $6 billion on their balance sheet, like the chance of them going immediately bankrupt is very slim. But if he doesn't turn it around within, let's say a year and a half, 2 years, this thing is just a permanent money loser that he's gonna have to find some way of unloading. Now, another thing I agree with him on that I didn't mention is that people have been saying, oh no, the Twitter website is gonna go to shit. Twitter's gonna crash. And Twitter's been just fine. Twitter is a company that essentially just serves text. GeoCities was doing that in 1998, dude. Twitter's reliability from their firing of basically everybody has gone from like 99.9% to 99%. There's been some errors, don't get me wrong, but it's not actually imploding. The service is basically gonna trundle along unless they make some major change and then it goes to an error. The way it's gonna fail is just basically that it has no near-term future to turn around the fact that it makes no money. But at the end of the day, this sort of sums it up. Everything he's been doing and all of the back and forth and all of the, let's talk about free speech or whatever, all kind of comes back to this. Like if you try to say, does Apple hate free speech in America? It's very transparent. He wants money because this place is losing it. This is not a free speech argument because free speech implies that you can choose where you advertise. Obviously, free speech doesn't mean you're forced to give Elon Musk your money. So, clearly this is all tracking back to the idea that this thing literally just doesn't make any money. This wouldn't be a big deal. We weren't seeing drastic downturns in Tesla stock at the same time. And it is being hammered, just insanely distracted with this Twitter stuff. There's many, many people who are just hardcore Tesla investors that just want to see him focus on Tesla. They believe in the Tesla mission. Tesla makes real products that people like. And that means it's a business that makes some sort of sense. And him diving all of his time, attention, and focus and capital into Twitter, a money-losing pit of a business, it's just been overall dumb. So yeah, overall, I understand that Twitter has not collapsed, but when I look at the business case, it just feels like it's all been a complete clusterfuck and it's not turning out well. That is what it's looking like to me. So I'll give him a win because he got to meet with Tim Cook. Now, let's give a fail on Sam Bankman-Fried, bro. Sam Bankman-Fried, the disgraced founder of FTX, who perpetuated a massive fraud on all the customer deposits, has now been doing interviews. For whatever reason, because he's jurisdictioned in the Bahamas, he is able to do interviews and walk around free despite committing a massive Ponzi scheme and massive fraud. It's actually crazy. It makes me furious. And he's going on these interviews and just lying, bro. So again, they based FTX in the Bahamas right after they went insolvent, basically, and they closed all withdrawals and said you couldn't take your money out. They reopened them briefly for people in the Bahamas. Now, 90% of this, I am sure, was insiders looting their money out. But he said, and there may be some truth to this as well, he actually said he opened withdrawals without authorization because he didn't want to be surrounded in a country with a lot of angry people in it. That might actually be true because legitimately, I would be afraid of everyone in the Bahamas who was an FTX investor coming to kill you, bro. This is the big lie. So this is Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, if you guys don't know, FTX had two branches. It had FTX International and FTX US, which was a smaller US-only branch that claimed to follow US laws. He says,
it's a US regulated platform with American users. To my knowledge, that's fully solvent.
To my knowledge, that's fully solvent.
I believe that withdrawals could be opened up today. And
he believes that if he was in charge still, he could open up withdrawals today and everyone can get their money back. The truth is, and this has been proven, is that all of the bank accounts from all of the branches, including his sister company, Alameda Research, all went into the same fucking bank account. It all just poured straight into Alameda's pockets and they used it on insane crypto gambling. And all of the money is gone, except for the money that he stole for himself. 300 million plus were taken out by Sam Bankman-Fried personally. And says right now that he only has $100,000 total in his bank account, which is another lie. Where did the $300 million go, Sam? But he also used investor funds in FTX, something like $700 million of Robinhood stock, which he then spun off to a separate fourth company that only he owns. And when they went into bankruptcy, he made sure that that fourth company did not go into bankruptcy and cannot be claimed by the people who are trying to get their money back. So he's literally committing open fraud and then lying about it nonstop. He's literally a planned con artist fraudster. I'm only giving you one opinion. Another opinion is that of Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, who says, I lost millions as an investor in FTX and I got sandblasted as a paid spokesperson for the firm. But after listening to that interview, I'm in the Bill Ackman camp about the kid. Call me crazy, but I think SBF is telling the truth. Bro, shut the fuck up. The dick writing's crazy. Bro, he literally lost you millions of dollars. Oh, you're such an idiot. They had insane things like free private flights for all FTX employees all over the Bahamas. They owed $55,000 to Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville Beach Resort. Bro, they can't even pay their fucking bar tab. They're not gonna pay back customers. And then finally, the thing he lied most of all, though, the thing that really broke my heart for my good friend Stans, who's a lifelong vegan, is that he lied about being vegan. And in fact, accidentally ate 3,000 shrimp. I could take you lying about $8 billion of customer funds that you misappropriated. But if you accidentally eat 3,000 shrimp, that's not an accident, bro. So the dude just lied through and through and through and through, and he should be in jail. By any fucking measure, this guy should be in jail. It's complete fraud. But what's been interesting is that he donated insane amounts to the Democratic Party. And then his one of his right-hand men from FTX donated a ton of money to the Republican Party. So FTX was donating both sides, millions and millions of dollars to different politicians. Their goal, as it turns out, was to get enough political influence to be recognized by the government as the only official crypto exchange. They wanted to cut all their competitors out of the market, almost like Panda Allen in Nintendo. And then when they had that monopoly could find a way to mainly spin their Ponzi scheme into a real business, it didn't happen. They didn't get there. But because of that influence, I don't know, they're getting surprisingly softball press coverage. I mean, there was this crazy article from the New York Times, like right after it happened. So this is the big first article. They talk about how he's not getting very much sleep, and they don't mention fraud once. They don't mention anything. And then specifically, they ask him like what he's been doing. And he says, oh, I've been stressed a little bit, but I've been getting sleep and I've been playing the video game Storybook Brawl, though less than he usually does. It helps me unwind a bit and clears my mind. I thought that was so weird. I was like, why are they including that he's playing the video game Storybook Brawl? Why do they call it out by name? So I Google Storybook Brawl and I find out that Storybook Brawl is a crypto-based auto brawler that was acquired by crypto exchange firm FTX. It's literally a hashtag ad in the middle of his collapsing fraud interview. They should be like calling for his head, dude. And they are like, yeah, he's just a sweet kid, not getting sleep, but at least he's enjoying hashtag ad Storybook Brawl. It's blowing my mind. So he started tweeting this cryptically, okay? He started tweeting, what? HAPPENED. He did this to this fucking thing. He'd space his out every like 5 minutes. You put another letter. It turns out the Twitter bots that track when you delete old tweets, do so by checking your total tweet count. So what he was doing is he was literally like posting a letter, then deleting an old tweet at the same time. So again, I'm not sure if that is exactly how the mechanic works, but while this was happening, it is proven that he deleted a bunch of tweets. And all of them were things around any of his celebrity friends that were implicit. All of those were deleted. He deleted the tweet where he said, FTX is actually solvent and all customer deposits are safe. And we're gonna see what happens, man. I'm frustrated, but I'm hopeful that eventually this guy will see some sort of criminal justice, because what he has done is equivalent to Bernie Madoff. It's equivalent to any of the great Ponzi schemes of history. He basically just embezzled $9 billion of customer funds and have used it for either personal gain or for incredibly risky crypto gambling bets, both of which mean the customer loses their money, and both of which are fraud. So I want to follow it up here real quick before I get back to the actual wins and fails. I am of the opinion that basically all crypto exchanges are built on some sort of fraud. They cannot maintain their level of solvency. And I believe if you have any money in an exchange, you should get it out. Now, I want to talk about Coinbase. I also want to talk about Coinbase because Coinbase is a different story, but I also want you to take your money out of Coinbase. The reason is because even though Coinbase has one-to-one all of the deposits, they kept them. I personally believe that even though Coinbase does not have any evidence of fraud, it's such a bad business. I think there's a good chance they go bankrupt and just pay out the deposits. Coinbase as a business only makes money because they don't do fraud. Because they don't do fraud, they only make money if people are trading a lot of crypto. They only make money by taking fees if you trade a lot of crypto. And nobody's doing that. So they have no way to make money. All they're doing is holding everyone's money for free. There's no money. The business makes no sense. Now, what they should have done is what real, actual exchanges do. What they were trying to do, but never got to doing what real, actual exchanges do. And that is...
Where was Gary Gensler?
Well, I don't know where Gary Gensler was, but my regulator at the CFTC, I asked...
Sorry, what?
CFTC, I asked them, why in the...
This guy who runs the Chicago exchange openly misspeaks to actually bribing his federal regulator.
I bribed paragraph.
You can see him start to slow down and get nervous because he knows he said it on camera now. And I want to say, all of this seems like a massive fail, right? Tons of people's money stolen. Anyone who tried to, try out crypto or believed in it or fell to the FOMO or whatever, many of them are getting their fucking money taken, stolen, drastically cut in value, and they feel burned and angry. But there is a win in all of this. And the win is people who want to buy a G-Wagon. Because all of the luxury cars that crypto bros and entrepreneurs have been buying over the past 2 years are now up for sale at drastically reduced prices. The Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, the new money badge of the crypto rich, was once valued around $300,000 in the resale market, but is now closer to $200K. $100,000 haircut. Get a 200 grand G-Wagon easy, dude. If you want to buy any of that, or maybe you want to buy a pre-owned Rolex, or any other expensive watch, all of them have been flooded with supply. That's crypto bros and people who made a bunch of money in tech stocks are now losing their shirt. They're all dumping them on the market. So this is a great time to pick up a used G-Wagon and Rolex, dude. Or, more importantly, once you get both these things, why don't you take your ass down to a Miami nightclub? Because they're now mourning the absence of high-rolling crypto entrepreneurs. Out of the blue, all these kids from crypto started coming down and spending a lot of money. They were booking tables for 50 grand, and it was like, who the hell are these people? The new party goers were 95% men, young, with a kind of nerdy style. The crypto revelers frequenting Miami's clubs have completely disappeared. And they paid in crypto. Unless the fucking Miami nightclub exchanged it to cash quick, they also lost money. Pray for the poor strip clubs of Miami, dude. Now, if you want to make easy money, because again, you still need some money from that, I always, in wins and fails, like to give you a way that I've learned to make easy money. I'm watching, and today I found a great one. Corporations are too powerful. And a lot of us are saying enough is enough. We got to stand up to these guys. We have to get some of our rights back. But all that stuff is hard. So finally, someone has stood up for something we really believe in. And that is a Florida woman who is suing Kraft mac and cheese for $5 million because her Velveeta microwave mac and cheese took longer to make than advertised. This is the fight that matters. We have to hold these corporations accountable. If they say you can make the mac and cheese in 3.5 minutes, they better not be lying. The product's instructions say to microwave for 3.5 minutes, but Ramirez's attorneys say this number doesn't account for the other 4 steps required to prepare the pasta. Removing the lid, adding the water, and stirring. Holy shit, true! Who here wants to take up the lawsuit on instant oatmeal? It's not instant. That's a false advertisement, bro. And I think we can make millions off that. So let's make some money. And if you make that money, how about considering putting it somewhere safe, investing it in a website like public.com? I'd like to thank our sponsor for today's Marketing Monday, public.com, longtime supporter of Marketing Monday. Public.com, I believe, is the single best investment app you can have on your phone. It is clean. It is easy to use. You can track your investments. You can buy fractionally. I find it easy to use. I use it every day to check my stocks. And also, you can get a free stock up to $300 if you join my code, public.com/Atrioc. Check it out. Yeah, I'm proud to support them, and I thank them for supporting me on a long time Marketing Monday. So thanks, public.com. Back to the regular schedule programming. Let me give you another win. And this is a win. There's a lot of wins this week, by the way. Let me give you a win for Buzzkills. This man has won the legal right to not be fun at work. He was fired from a consultancy firm in 2015 because he didn't adhere to the company's fun values. And now he has legally been ruled that he has freedom of expression to not participate, which means you no longer have to go hang out with your coworkers after work and pretend to be interested and do drinks with them. You can just go home and watch fucking Netflix like you want to, or anime probably. This is a big win for fellow Buzzkills, dude. Here's another win for other people out there. Is anyone here on dating apps trying to make it work, trying to get out there? Well, one thing people complain about is that it's very hard to get good pictures. To really present yourself well, you have to go out and take a bunch of photos, and that requires you to leave your house, and it's a whole thing, all right? It's a pain in the ass. What I'm presenting today as a major win is that AI will now do this for you. This man took one pic of himself in a disgusting sweatshirt, and then AI just put him in a bunch of interesting and unique backgrounds and situations. And this will only get better. So now you can just take one greasy photo of yourself at your PC, watching hentai or something, and then AI will generate you 100 photos of you living an interesting, fulfilling life. Can the AI actually go on the dates for me too? One day. So that's the win. And then my final win. And this is the biggest win of the week. And this deserves an entire huge shout out. I want you all to join me in a celebratory scream because, ladies and gentlemen, the king is back! Bob Iger is back at Disney! The original GOAT of Marketing Monday! The CEO of Disney, longtime CEO of Disney, and a guy that, you know, amongst incredibly overpaid CEOs is my favorite. Anyway, he's put him back to Disney because his replacement, Bob Chapek, has been a disaster. Okay, the guy that you picked to replace him, this guy right here, who looks like Jebediah Stone from Iron Man. This guy looks like shit. All right, you want Bob Iger? You want this Chad, dude, hanging out with Minnie Mouse. Bob Iger's back. So, if you want to know what happened, basically, Disney's been doing pretty poorly in this guy's tenure. All right. Now, every company's been hit with rough times since November of last year, and especially companies that have dealt with tech. So the streaming part of Disney Plus has been a big money loser. Secondly, right after Iger quit, there was a thing with layoffs at Disney. And Bob Iger, even though he was no longer CEO, basically said that, hey, we should like wait a month and give them proper severance and wait for this new law to get passed, which is going to give them like better protections. And this guy said no. And he said, you shouldn't overrule me. I'm the CEO now. Which is just cringe. And so eventually, people started saying they don't even want to work for him. Yeah, morale has never been lower inside of Disney. The stock price has fallen from $96 from over $197, not $197 to $96. Many people, many high-level executives at Disney basically said they would quit. They told the board they would quit if Bob Chapek wasn't removed. Eventually, right here, they fired him on Sunday. And the Disney board called Robert Iger and asked him for the job back, which he took. So he took it for at least 2 years. He said he's going to take it for 2 years. Now, can he? I don't know. The thing is, some of these problems are real. The main thing is he's coming in with a pretty easy fix. Number one, Bob Chapek was lying. He was basically shifting budgets around to hide that Disney Plus was making massive monetary losses. He was basically pulling, not necessarily full-on fraud, but he was like being misleading. When he was presenting to Wall Street what was going on at Disney, he was basically saying like Disney Plus is crushing it. and it's not. So that'll be easy to fix. And then also, the movies that he greenlit are massive flops. Disney's Strange World has just launched. This is like the last movie that was under Bob Chapek's tenure. Lost $100 million. He's about to lose $100 million. It's a total bomb. And this is like a big flop for Disney because it's like the first movie to do badly on CinemaScore, and also it's going to lose tons of money. And this is following the biggest flops in Pixar history, which is owned by Disney, which is Lightyear. So Bob Iger has a pretty easy rebound. He comes back, he makes Cars 4, he just puts out a sequel, and all of a sudden, things are back on track, dude. I'm hopeful as a Disney stock owner that this will be a good sign for the future of the company. One thing that is unclear, and if you know Bob Iger, like I do, and I've read his book, he is the biggest Apple fan of all time. And there is a rumor that Disney would try to sell themselves to Apple. If you guys don't know, Apple is a $3 trillion company. Disney's like a tenth of that. Steve Jobs owned Pixar and sold it to Bob Iger. They were friends. His first answer to that question was that he won't do it. He said he won't do it. But of course, you never would say you would until you had anything locked. But there are rumors flying around. If they needed to have a bailout, if they needed to figure things out and make it, get free cash, they would sell to Apple, which would be absolutely bad from an Apple perspective. I don't support it at all. But as a stock owner, it would probably sell at a premium, so it'd be nice for me. I'd probably make a boatload. So I'm not going to talk about it too much. If Disney can't survive on its own, that's absolutely insane. So they should be fine. Yeah, so that's that. Thanks for watching Wins and Fails.
Check it.